Good afternoon, I'm June Bravo, and here are your 145 headlines. The Independent Investigations Office of BC has launched an inspection into a fall of a woman from a bridge this week. The police watchdog says officers tried talking to the woman on Granville Bridge before she fell and died. The death from the bridge triggered criticism from advocates who have been calling for a suicide prevention barrier. A barrier was installed nearby Burrard Bridge in 2017 and no suicide deaths have been reported. Chilliwack police are looking for witnesses after two assaults that happened in Sardis this month. Chilliwack RCMP responded to a first assault near Wells Road in 2 a.m. A statement said a male victim was found and treated for non-fatal injuries. Mounties say a second assault happened at the same area after. RCMP says that the assaults were unrelated despite it happening on the same day. Residents in a few parts of Kamloops have their water back after a main break this week, although some will be without water today as crews look to make more repairs. The city is still providing supplies to residents affected. Elections BC has received a petition to recall Vancouver MLA Quilchena and BC leader Dallas Brody. The, the agency the agency says a recall petition for Brody will be issued on May 21st and they begin collecting signatures at that time. The petition must be returned to Elections BC by July 20th. There are new earthquake reports near the BC coast. Our reporter Tyler Burskin has more details on the earthquakes and what they could mean.
Multiple earthquakes struck off the coast of Haida Gwaii this week. Both of these earthquakes were level 4s but did not result in a tsunami. Whether more and potentially bigger earthquakes could follow remains to be seen, as BC sits on a large subduction zone with two submerging plates. This raises the question of how prepared the province of BC is to respond to these earthquakes. Tyler Bereskin, BCIT News.
Despite the economic situation, the fashion industry in Canada continues to grow according to industry experts. Reporter Denene Tingala has more.
As demand increases, some educators question whether there are enough graduates entering the field to keep up with the growing fashion industry. Celine Jackson, a home economics teacher at Jan Burnett Secondary School, says there is growing concern about if opportunities can be offered to students.
There is basically that lack of home ec teachers at the moment and trying to get them in the district.
Jackson says student interest in textiles and fashion-related courses is strong but are halted due to staffing shortages and parents undervaluing the course. This has been Denene Tingala, BCIT News.
The official opening of Oak Ridge Park Mall is happening this month. Megan Unagkat reports.
Oak Ridge Mall is reopening later this month, featuring 650,000 square feet of retail space. Developers describing this project as futuristic, it doesn't just bring back shoppers. Local businesses and investors are seeing this as an opportunity to establish their presence in Vancouver. Dining will also be a part of the grand opening, featuring Time Out Market that will showcase a number of chefs and local restaurants. Oak Ridge Mall officially opens May 28th at 11 a.m. Megan Unadkat, BCIT News.
The Cloverdale Radio and Country Fair is expanding this year. Our reporter Andrew Chen has more on why the event reaches well beyond the fairgrounds.
This year's fair has more than 100 artists across 7 stages, up from about 65 artists last year. Organizers says the event also has an estimated $18 million local economic impact. Country Fair Committee co-chair Patrick Peters says downtown Cloverdale businesses are part of what makes Rodeo Weekend feel bigger than a single event.
We try to partner up with as many local businesses as we can. Downtown Cloverdale is the stone's throw away from the ground, so it's always a big thing to try and keep the businesses involved. Like, I don't refer to it as May Long Weekend. You know, most people here will call it Rodeo Weekend. It's a great tradition that we want to keep alive.
The Cloverdale Rodeo and Country Fair runs through the May Long Weekend. Andrew Chen, BCIT News.
It turns out your milk doesn't spoil the second the clock hits midnight on the best before date. Izzy Morgan has more on this new study that shows that best before dates are leading to food waste.
A report by Second Harvest, a Toronto-based food rescue organization, shows people are throwing out perfectly good food. Just over 21 million tons of food worth billions of dollars ends up in a landfill due to confusion between best before and expiry dates. Anna Gray is with the Food Stash Foundation. She says it's not just about the money.
When food waste ends up in the garbage, it gets trapped in that garbage and it creates methane, which is 25 times more harmful than CO2.
Gray says tasks as simple as meal planning and freezing items before expiry dates can play a large role in reducing food waste. Izzy Morgan, BCIT News.
Carney says Alberta will advance a potential crude oil pipeline. Prime Minister Carney says on Thursday that they will have a discussion regarding pipes. Carney has a plan of transporting at least 1 million barrels of Alberta oil a day to new markets. Clean energy advocates say they're encouraged about Ottawa's upcoming electricity strategy. The government is considering ways that they can help finance a massive cross-country build-out. A discussion laying out plans says the federal government is strongly committed to supporting the investment. CEO at the shareholder advocacy group, Kevin Thomas, shared that he believes that there will be a strong investor appetite.
One of the things I like about the strategy is that it does focus on the financing mechanisms and how we attract investment to build this clean grid. And I think institutional investors, at least, will be very interested in supporting the build out, not just of the grid itself, but the manufacturing, the tech, the clean energy generation opportunities, all the things this opens up.
China's Xi Jinping warned President Donald Trump that their countries would clash over Taiwan if the issue is not handled properly. The discussion happened during an unexpected summit in Beijing that showed how different Trump and Xi is on thorny issues. The exchange suggests that Trump's visit to China is likely based on pageantry rather than economic breakdowns. Tensions rise near the Strait of Hormuz as ships are seized and sunk. In an interview, Secretary of State Marco Rubio says President Donald Trump will make the case to China to take a more active role on Iran.
The Chinese have ships stuck in the Persian Gulf because setting up a system that says we're going to let certain ships through but others not, it's easier said than done. And you saw a not Chinese flag vessel, but it was a Chinese cargo, got hit over the weekend. I'm sure Iran didn't do it deliberately, but they did it. It happened. And so that's why these Chinese ships are stuck in there.
Moving on to entertainment, Canadian music superstar Drake is dropping his much-anticipated Iceman album tonight. Reporter Noah Peckham provides the details of the album.
Drake will be dropping his first solo album since 2023. Drake started his Iceman album rollout by dropping his hit single, What Did I Miss, on July 5th last year.
What did I miss? What did I miss?
He continued on July 24th, releasing Which One, a song with British artist Central C. Drake then went silent for a few months before reappearing this year on April 20th with his infamous ice sculpture in Toronto. On April 21st, he announced Iceman would be coming out on May 15th. The album is expected to be released at 9 p.m. tonight. Noah Peckham, BCIT News.
The World Cup final will feature a halftime show headlined by Madonna, Shakira, and Korean boy band BTS. FIFA announced for the first time the final at MetLife Stadium will include a Super Bowl-style concert. The governing body says the show would show support the FIFA Global Citizen Education Fund to help children's access to education. Moving on to weather, it's cloudy all afternoon with the highest to 15, although tomorrow has a high chance of rain with weather easing up on the weekend. Those are my last headlines for today. I'm June Bravo. You're listening to BCIT's The Crow, and enjoy your long weekend.
Stay tuned for more on BCIT's 1680 The Crow.
everything is changing to digital. Everything is online. People aren't just waiting for the 6 o'clock news anymore. People want their news right now. They want to be able to go onto their smartphone, onto the internet, and see the news that they want to see.
Vancouver is growing at, a really rapid rate, the Lower Mainland even, and with the tools that we're given here, we're able to cover all of that.
Welcome to BCIT Magazine. I'm Radhika Sikakane.
In the program, they really leave it up to you. I mean, the help is there when you need it, figuring out how to use the programs like Premiere, Audition, and figuring out how to use the cameras. But it's up to you to sort of experiment and figure out what you can do when you go out in the field.
They brought candles and flowers to remember the student who lost her life yesterday.
Theresa May says the international community condemns Moscow.
They really make sure that you know the basics and you are able to put out a quality product.
I'm Brady Tretnero.
And I'm Radhika Sikakane. Thank you for tuning in to BCIT Magazine.
Good afternoon. I'm Garrett Rosel, and these are your sports headlines. The Montreal Canadiens are set to face off against the Buffalo Sabres at 4 p.m. today at KeyBank Center in Buffalo. The series is at the moment tied up at 2. Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen is the starting goalie for the Sabres. Despite losing last night's game, the Habs, being the last team in Canada lasting in the playoffs this year, has not lost support from fans. The Anaheim Ducks will go up against the Las Vegas Golden Knights today, 6:30 at Honda Center in Anaheim. This is the second game of round 6. The local farm producing grass for the FIFA event has to abide by very particular field regulations for the World Cup pitches. Reporter Trevor Weinbrenner has more.
FIFA has strong rules that need to be met for the pitch at the World Cup. Players are playing at the highest level and they have expectation. Bossod Farms Bird Boss explains what are some of the things they had to meet to make sure the field was at the highest level it could be.
So the FIFA has a natural pitch rating system. So it talks about vertical ball rebound, ball roll consistency, shock absorption, vertical deformation, rotational resistance is another one, surface hardness, compaction, infiltration. There's so the list goes on. There's quite a comprehensive list, so it's very rigorous.
Pitch is ready and fans are excited. Trevor Weinbrenner, BCIT News.
This afternoon at 3:45, the Philadelphia Phillies are set to face off against the Boston Red Sox. Ranger Suarez is the starting pitcher for the Sox. He has been the most consistent pitcher with a 2.77 ERA. The success of the Sox could be dependent on him. Jesus Luzardo is the starting pitcher for the Phillies. So far, he's got a 5.77 ERA with 57 strikeouts. And to football, the Hamilton Tiger Cats of the CFL have just signed quarterback Matthew Schultz. At 33, he is still going strong in the lead, having played 8 seasons in the CFL so far. He has also played for the Montreal Alouettes, the Calgary Stampeders, and the Ottawa Redblacks. For hockey in Western Canada, Daxon Rudolph is being considered a top 10 selection for the 2026 NHL Buffalo Sabres draft later this year. Rudolph has played for the Prince Albert Raiders of the Western Hockey League, scoring them 9 goals and 27 points. He has stated that he grew up a fan of the Pittsburgh Penguins, admiring Canadian legend Sidney Crosby. The sale of the Whitecaps is still in talks. This leaves Caps fans nervous, as there is reportedly a 50-50 chance of them moving to Las Vegas under new ownership. Reporters have been asking Prime Minister Mark Carney questions about the Whitecaps today.
In terms of the Whitecaps specifically, I'm not personally involved in that. I would obviously like them to stay, but I don't have anything to say on that at this point.
Cobbs Creek Golf Club of the Cobbs Creek Foundation in West Philadelphia is being revived and restored. This golf club has had a reputation for being inclusive to people from all walks of life. This restoration is being backed by golfing legend Tiger Woods.
Golf is very exclusive in some ways. Big problem in golf. This is extremely inclusive. Everybody's welcome here. It was always that way too.
The Professional Women's Hockey League has just picked up another Canadian hockey team. Hamilton will add another sports team to their city.
Oh, the good old hockey game.
The league says Hamilton, Ontario will be home to the newest PWHL team alongside Las Vegas and Detroit. The expansion clubs will start for the 2026-27 season, and the league is expected to add one more team to reach 12 franchises. The PWHL was formed in 2024 with 6 teams in Toronto, Ottawa, Montreal, Boston, New York, and Minnesota. Vancouver and Seattle joined in 2025. Make that she shoots, she scores. Rob Westgate, The Canadian Press.
The league's expansion also includes a team going to Las Vegas. The league, while relatively new, has been growing in popularity. Those were your afternoon sports headlines. I'm Garrett Rosel, BCIT News.
Stay tuned for more on BCIT's 1680 The Crow.
Everything is changing to digital. Everything is online. People aren't just waiting for the 6 o'clock news anymore. People want their news right now. They want to be able to go onto their smartphone, onto the internet, and see the news that they want to see.
Vancouver is growing at, a really rapid rate, the Lower Mainland even, and with the tools that we're given here, we're able to cover all of that.
Welcome to BCIT Magazine. I'm Radhika Sikakane.
In the program, they really leave it up to you. I mean, the help is there when you need it, figuring out how to use the programs like Premiere, Audition, and figuring out how to use the cameras. But it's up to you to sort of experiment and figure out what you can do when you go out in the field.
They brought candles and flowers to remember the student who lost her life yesterday.
Theresa May says the international community condemns Moscow.
They really make sure that you know the basics and you are able to put out a quality product.
I'm Brady Tretanero.
And I'm Radhika Sikakane.